Time to shine.
Time to shine. So, guys, welcome back for another episode. And today I have Simon Lucky Leslie. He is the owner of a football club. Bigger guest. I think he exited his last company for 9 figures. I'll let you talk about that. And it's really just inspiring to me bigger, better guests that are doing bigger things than me and most of the people around me. So, Simon, who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it?
Oh, is that a loaded question? I'm Simon Leslie.
Good.
Today I run a
That's fast.
football. I run a football team in Eastbourne. And who am I? I'm an inspirer, a motivator. I'm a positive energy demon.
I really, you know what? This year has been a big. I mentioned to you, right? I went through a separation, crazy wife took the kid. Um, really, I was almost gonna. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I was a heroin addict. I went to prison for 3 years. I went through 7 jails, 3 rehabs. I really tore my life apart when I was in America, and then came back here and had to rebuild it from scratch. And I noticed energy was so important, but I kind of didn't realize it until this year because as I've started to attract good energy, remove myself from bad energy, even through the hardest times, the good energy has allowed me to see more things, create more opportunities, realize more outcomes that I want. So for you, what kind of where did you start the education for yourself around having good energy or leveraging good energy to get the things you want or to make the world a better place?
I was released from school at 16. But I've never stopped learning. My journey as a lifelong learner, and I think I got to about 40 and I was miserable because I had all the trappings that I thought would make me happy. I thought would fill the gap, fill the hole, whatever you want to call it. And I wasn't. I was really miserable, and I went on this adventure of trying to discover what was really important, what was creating happiness, what was going to make me happier, and energy definitely filled a lot of that. The the energy that you put out to the people around you is what they pick up on. The energy you bring into a room is what lights up that room. And I realised, I'm 55 years old and I've had a career of successes and failures, of stopping and starting. And I think that the one component or the one um, discovery of energy was a thing I think changed everything about it. So much so that in the business, we used to have an energy session every morning. So no matter how you arrived at work, if you've been cut up on the way to work, you've been cussed on the bus or the tube had been delayed, I wanted to shake off all that negativity. So we always had positive energy sessions every morning, be it in Miami, be it in Singapore, or be it in London, because energy was that important that you needed to leave all the crap at the door. So when you got into the company, we could definitely get the best out of you.
You are a dream CEO. I've never heard that in my life. Never heard that in my life. My sales manager when I used to work in London, I used to work in Hatton Garden for like a events company. And one of the things they always used to say after a while of me being there was, "Oh, Shane, we need you to stand up and pitch because you get good energy in the room. You show good energy in the room." And after a while, I was like, "You guys ain't paying me enough for this shit, though. That's what the problem is." And I tried to build that in my business. Okay, I built my business in 2020. And one of the things that I always pushed was good energy, positive vibes, just be happy. None of this shit around you is going to kill you. If you need anything, come to me. If you need anything, you got a team that you can go to. It was like pulling blood from a stone from some of them. So, what do you do if you have a group of 10? 8 of them are energetic, one of them's one of them's a miserable fucker.
You need to remove the miserable fucker as quickly as possible. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if they're the top salesman or the worst salesman. They're not. your life was conditioned by the people you hung around with. And
100%.
if you hang around with the wrong people, you're going to get the wrong results. And in most teams, and especially I'm noticing this in football, there's going to be one or two people who are not happy. They're not happy they're not playing. They're not happy they're injured. They're not happy that they don't like the manager. Whatever it is, there's always a reason why people are not happy, and it's never their fault. And first of all, you've got to start taking responsibility. But most people won't do that. So let's just focus on the if people don't believe what you believe, and if you believe energy is important, and by the way, it is. And when I first launched this, people laughed at me and mocked me and criticized me. By the end of it, they were coming from the biggest universities on the planet to review what I was doing to understand it. So first they'll laugh at you, and if you keep going long enough, they'll want to know what you were doing because you clearly had something that was different to everybody else. If you ever went to a Tony Robbins event, that man would go for 20 hours or 24-hour day just on his feet, pumping, 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 and everyone in the crowd was in that wave. And I'll never forget, he used to play Eminem, I'm Not Afraid, before every session. And that music, every time I hear that song, I literally could get up and dance. And I
Mhm.
could keep going for 8 hours as well. So it's really important. There's anchors as well, like music, that will bring out the best in your environment. But if there are people in your environment who are not contributing to the greater good, they mustn't be there. They mustn't be there because if they don't enjoy it, then they need to find somewhere else to take their enjoyment. And that's the biggest challenge when you're building a team is that if people don't believe what you believe, then they're always going to be rowing in a different direction, and you're not going to make the boat go fast.
You hit the nail on the head. You really did hit the nail on the head, and a lot of the problem was, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because I believe a lot of CEOs, a lot of business owners do have this challenge where, as much as they want to be the best, I'm a shit CEO. I'm happy to say it. I do not care. I was not good. I am not selfish, but I'm better off doing the things I need to do for myself because I know how I want to get it done, and I'm too controlling when it comes to letting go and letting the failures happen. And what I ended up seeing was the failures became so consistent that the conversation started to become problematic. So much so that there was tension and friction in the decisions of around the future of the business. So at what point do you realize, okay, I've said this thing once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I let it go into about 9, 10 times till it damaged my relationship. When do you know how to pull out of these problems where you got a bad apple, but the team likes them?
I think I'm listening for what you're saying and what you really mean because you've criticized yourself, and it's not about you. You know, shit CEO. The problem with the title of CEO is that it really doesn't mean anything until you're running a very big organization. All right,
Absolutely.
up to then you're just the manager managing that business.
Exactly.
And I wasn't a very good CEO because I cared too much. Let
Mm,
me explain that. Let me explain that. Right, because as a CEO, you really shouldn't be doing anything that somebody else can do. You
so,
need to delegate every one of your tasks to somebody else. And if you're doing it, it means you're not actually doing what you're supposed to do, which is to be the visionary, to be the director of traffic, taking people where they need to go. A good CEO can go and live on an island for 365 years and still manage a business perfectly. An operational CEO, which is what I was and what you sound like you are, is a very different role. It's a very different role. You're in the weeds.
mm-hmm.
You're dealing with all the problems. You're fixing the leaks. You're running to the fires. You're a fireman. You're not a CEO. You're putting out fires all day long. And the issue with that is, okay, you've got to get better. You've got to get better at putting out fires. So you put them out quicker. You start to learn how to stop the fires actually erupting, and instead of putting fires out, you stop fires, and that's the art. And it takes time, right? You'll only be doing this 5 minutes, and it took me 28 years to be an overnight success, and it took a lot of conversations like we're having. It took a lot of time to reflect on my abilities and question my abilities and question why people were criticizing me so strongly to decide that actually I might have been doing the right things. I might be doing the wrong things, but you've got to have that um, time to go and have those conversations with people who are better than you, so you can improve your game. You're not going to improve your game working with people who don't want to play at a level you want to play at right now. Which means that you've got to find better people, and the only way you're going to find better people is that you've got to be a better leader.
Hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. So
Because
along with that,
they're not going to come work for you. Because that's the thing is that, and I love your honesty at the beginning, but some people are going to be put off by that. They don't want to work for somebody who's might have had a track record that's not so savoury. And I think it's really important. I had people who were very educated didn't want to work for me because I was thick, but eventually I had a lot of MBAs.
I agree with you. For me, it's a lot of it is accountability, realizing where my strengths are, where realizing where I don't have strengths, and then playing to the strengths I enjoy and playing to the fulfillment I desire, which is more important than anything. And by me understanding and being aware of who I am, I allow others to flourish, to prosper in their own kind of domain without me, like saying, I know best, when sometimes in my transition right now to where I'm going, I need to take a back seat as the student. Right now, I'm not the CEO. Right now, I'm just a 37-year-old man interviewing cool guests of big companies, and I'm getting an absolute kick out of it. And why I do this is because I'm constantly seeking and curious about the education of leaders in this world. And you don't have you just like and I'm sure you can appreciate, you are part of that 1% of individuals that are different, unique, and you don't really discover it until somebody says it's okay to be you. So, was there ever any a point in your life where, yes, you were being criticized so much, but there was this point whether either someone was introduced to you, you had a light bulb moment, but you were like, you know what, this doesn't matter. This matters. At what point in your life did that happen?
Do you know what the DGAF muscle is?
Decaf?
DGAF.
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'll explain that in a second. So today, somebody came on a post, a podcast I'd been on, and some came on and wrote a highly critical piece about me. Zero followers, zero posts. And I thought I might follow you just so you feel important that you've got someone to follow you. But there are lots of critics in the world, right? And it
Yep.
takes nothing to be a critic. They don't build statues of critics. They build statues of heroes. The DGAF muscle is the don't give a fuck, right? And until you can get that muscle as strong as it needs to be, you are going to fail because you're going to worry what other people think. And I was very lucky as I worked that muscle out early on in my career, and I trained it and I worked it and I developed it to the point that I really don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me or what I can do. And when you can get to a position of that much strength and that much confidence that people can say what they like about you, can criticize you till the cats come home, and you just go, okay, thank you for your feedback, but I'm still going to carry on doing what I'm doing. When I built this business at 5 million, I was told the way I was doing it was impossible for us to get to another level. When I got to 10 million, they told me the same thing, and 20, and 50. And then when I was creeping over 100 million, they're going, yeah, but you won't get to 200 million. And I kept saying, honestly, it's boring now. I've proved everybody wrong for the last 25 years that, you know, if you believe enough in what you're doing and you can get enough people to come with you on that journey, you can achieve anything you want to achieve. Right. So it's all about your team. It's all about your mission, your vision, and your strategy. And the strategy is just getting shit done. Not sitting there over evaluating it and over planning.
Yeah.
You know, I could have had a 5 year plan in December 2019 when we just had the greatest year of our career. What good does that 5 year plan? Because something came along and absolutely kicked the arse out of my business. So it's really important. Long-term planning is very nice, but it doesn't actually mean anything. I mean, I
Mm,
got to the point where I even refused to start budgeting
yeah.
because I just said it's very hard to budget when you don't know what's going on in the world and what markets are going to be affected by it. You know, do I know what it costs me to run a business? Do I know if I sell more than that, I'm going to make more money, and if I sell less than that, I'm going to lose some money? So, those are the important things. How much cash have I got? What do I need to do to break even? And how quickly can I get past that break even point? And if you think about it in the simplest of terms, no matter if you're running £100 million business or you're running a business which is starting in your parents' bedroom, it's the same principles. How much money can I keep going until I do that first, second, third, or fourth sale?
I want to ask you about two things, which is your opinion on imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. And another thing, a lot of people have told me the same thing. You'll fuck up, you'll do this, you'll do this. And there's a kick, there's a little fire that you get and there's a spark whenever you prove that theory wrong or you prove their doubts wrong, right? And you do achieve the things that you say you're going to do. And when they say you won't be able to achieve this, you do achieve it. Proving everyone wrong. I've heard a number of times. They're like, yeah, but you're doing it from the reason. But for me, genuinely, I really feel it's a catalyst for growth. So, what's your opinion on that? When people say, "Oh, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You need to prove it for yourself," which you fucking know, but like, come on, there's some. How can you articulate it from your experience?
There's two things I actually agree. I was told I wouldn't amount to very much, and obviously that was quite motivating for me. For the next person, that could have demotivated and knocked their stuffing out of them. And the second point was, I had a girl that worked for me, and she told me this company would not amount to much. And she went to work for one of the biggest companies in the UK. And when I overtook them, I went, this company seemed to amount to a lot more than you thought it would do. And I just think that you do, it depends what sort of person are you running away from fear or running towards it. Whatever motivates you, whatever's going to bring out the best in you, Shane, is the person that you need to be. Because if you're if you need someone to tell you you're crap for you to perform, then that's what you need. But if you don't, find people who will tell you what you need to hear, because that will, as long as it helps accelerate your own performance. And imperfect, I am the master of imperfection because because perfection doesn't exist.
I
It doesn't
agree.
exist. And the search for perfection is what kills people. People don't get started because they're waiting for it to be perfect.
Oh my
If
god.
that's the case, we wouldn't have an iPhone 15. We'd have an iPhone 1, and that's it. You wouldn't have, you know, 3 or 4 versions of everything. You know, Windows 48.2, whatever we're up to, right? That's because none of them were perfect, and they never will be perfect because there's always going to be a flaw in something that's done. And the only thing, and even the most perfect diamond still has flaws. It's just less flaws than the next diamond. And I just think that you've got to remove that concept of perfection, because perfection is like chasing rocking horse poo. It doesn't exist. And chase something that exists and keep going until you get it right. The greatest geniuses on this planet understood that. They did it. They kept developing, kept improving the products. And that's why we are here today with much better products than we were 25 years ago. Otherwise, the fax machine was perfect. The video recorder was perfect. We didn't need CDs. We didn't need then to go DVD. Then we then go to Netflix. All these evolutions of businesses because someone found a better way of doing it, and that's you know nothing is perfect. It's just until someone comes along and does it better than you do, and that's why I have a rule called the 78% rule.
Okay, this is interesting. Like Pareto's law, I'm guessing.
That's a little bit. It's probably 2% less than Pareto's law, but 78% rule is if if 78% of businesses failed tomorrow, no one would give a fuck. If Apple failed, if Microsoft failed, if your Wi-Fi provider failed, or your football team failed, you really would be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
But if Shane's business goes down the pan, no one cares. No one's losing sleep over it. No one's waking up going, "Oh, I hope Shane's okay." Some of your
You're
friend,
absolutely
some of your friend,
right.
some of your friends might be. I ran one of the biggest travel businesses in the world, biggest travel media companies in the world, and I was at a point where the banks were trying to close me down, and I said, "Imagine the headlines, right? You're going to put 400 people out of work, but more importantly, 40 of the biggest airlines in the world are not going to have their media. Are you happy making that decision? Because I don't think you should make that decision on your own."
Yeah.
It was a great question at the time because it really stopped them thinking about what they're doing. Because what you're suggesting is you're going to put 40 big corporations at risk. They can't sell their coffees and their teas and their bars of chocolates, and they can't sell the duty frees because you've made a decision, and you're going to put 300 people out of work tonight. And that ability to buy time and get them thinking about the consequences of their decision, because most people don't think about the consequences of their decision.
Very true.
And do you know what they said to me? Not my problem. So just be clear. Somebody can make a decision that can put your business at risk, even if you make one or two silly decisions. So it really is, there's no, and to be fair, I don't think anyone really would have cared. Even though I like to think I had an important business that was valuable to a lot of people, they would have found another supplier pretty quickly. And that's the reality of life, right? So while you're spending so much time procrastinating, because that's what perfection is, it's just another word for procrastinating to do what you need to do, you're going to let somebody else come in and steal your lunch.
You're 100% right. In two scenarios. One was every time I had an idea to push an initiative forward, and it would be delayed based on, oh, we got to do this. I was like, oh my fucking god, you know what? I'm gonna just do it tonight and I'll launch it tomorrow, and it worked out perfectly fine, better than expected. And it was such a problem for me with some of the people that I've been around. They always come up with excuses. I was even trying to build a product literally this week, and the excuses I kept hearing: there's regulation, there's compliance, but what about this? We need to set up this. I said, mate, just set the fucking first thing up first. Just set the first thing up. That's it, and then we can talk about all kinds of compliance and stuff after that. Right? Be mindful of it, but let's get something on the ground. And I want to jump on evolution and a very, very key point that Inc. is Inc., right? Inc. magazine. Inc. was able to
Think
leverage its content, its media, it's the ability to look at something visual. That 1000x is your ability to learn. And having content, like you said, in 2023 and beyond, I believe is more powerful and more important to be getting into learning, involved in using for your outreach versus cold calling again, which I used to love doing because I was good at it. But cold calling people pisses people off, right? Cold emailing people, if you don't have the permission, it does piss people off. It's a great strategy, but in terms of leveraging something that works better now, give me your argument on people can still use a horse and carriage to get from A to B, but I'd rather get in a Tesla. People can generate sales picking up the phone and dialing 100 people a day and going through that nightmare, or produce one video that comes up with 100 different mini clips, put that out there and be put in front of 5, 10,000 people a month. It's something new, but the cold callers will say that doesn't work. Well, these guys will say that doesn't work. What's your argument on that? Or how do you help people see the evolution of outbound campaigns and how effective they can be in generating new customers?
I have a very simple principle: do it all.
Okay.
The the the, the we can still use a horse and cart. We can still use a Tesla. We can still pick up the phone. We can still send an email, and we can still create content. You need a media mix, and media doesn't mean
Yeah.
a mix of very different things. did you see my video? Because you can put your video out and then, someone saw it. I'm getting 1,000 messages an hour, right? Consciously or subconsciously. I'm driving past, there's a billboard, there's a TV ad behind me on the screen. There are messages coming all the time. If I go through Instagram, I'm getting 100 messages. My phone's probably listening to me talk to you now, so it's going to serve me up a load more messages I don't really need because it's made some assumption based on the data, based on some algorithm that it decides that I need to get a turkey and lose some weight, right? Because somebody's decided that because I've had 15 ads of that this week.
Okay.
And they're probably right. Let's not knock them. But the truth is this: you need to do everything. 7 touches. 7 touches was what my coach used to say to me. Reach them in 7 different points, be it LinkedIn, be it email, be it text, be it WhatsApp, be it a little bit of content, be a little message, comment on one of their posts. Make sure that they know that you are all over them like a bad rash, because then they know that you're close enough and they're not going to forget about you too easily. But I'm going to give you a line that my friend Jeremy Miner gave me.
Okay.
And if you add this to every single email, how would you like to proceed? Dot dot dot. Doesn't matter what you're doing, but you add that as a final line. And I'm a very short emailer. I don't write paragraphs because I think it's a waste of
Annoying.
space. How would you like to proceed? Always gets a response. Doesn't matter what, if you're chasing debts, if you're chasing a customer, there is something about how would you like to proceed which makes it, people go, what does he mean? I don't want to proceed. Right?
Yeah, right. Even
Am
I'm
I,
thinking that.
I want to proceed with what? And then they go, and then they realise they haven't responded to you, or they realise that they don't know what you're talking about, and they're going to come back to you and go, what do you mean? Or proceed with what? And I'm going, well, how would you like to proceed with this conversation? We started it, we had a nice conversation, and then you ghosted me like Casper. So you've got to be interesting enough that someone's going to come back to you in the first place. I used that with a client of mine, and we were doing this in the meeting, and he said, "Oh, this company are ghosting me. They're not spending any money with me." And I'm like, "But they're the biggest customer in your sector." He goes, "Yeah, I've tried everything." I said, "Give me your computer. Da, da, da. How would you like to proceed?" I think I said, I actually wrote this and said, "I think we're going to close your account now because we haven't done any business together. Is that okay to proceed like that?" Or something. Always use that word. And within, literally, as we're still in the meeting, the computer pings, and she goes, "No, no, don't close your account. We've got an account. We've got a campaign for you." Since that day, they've done over £250,000 with that company. Why? Because I broke the ice of getting the response.
That's
And
fucking
I
genius,
I
mate.
I
That is
I,
genius.
I, I am unbelievable at getting people to react. No, I'm very good at getting people to tell me to fuck off. But at the same time, when you reached out to me, I said to you very, very explicitly, if you want to be the best, read my first book, There's No F in Sales, right? Which I hope you've done, because it will tell you how to get past every gatekeeper and deal with every problem that you're going to face as a business owner. Because I put everything in there. I put all my warts and alls, everything that went wrong in my business, I put in there. I was described as worse than hell at one point on Glassdoor. Worse than hell, a place to work. By the time I left, I had a 4.9 rating as a CEO. I was, I had over 500, you know, nice emails from people who worked for me saying, "You changed my life." So I learned as well. None of us were perfect when we start.
Hmm.
And none of us are very good when we start, let alone perfect. And we're never perfect, as I said earlier. But it's the ability to understand what your weaknesses, what your strengths are, how you can improve them. Don't worry about what your weaknesses are. Find someone else to do that stuff. Focus on what you're really good at. And if you're really good at managing people, if you're really good at coming up with new product sets, that's where you put your energy and delegate the rest to somebody else. It's all about your price tag, right? So
Mm.
the price tag on this jacket might be $150, right? The price tag on your time is whatever you decide it's going to be. If you say, look, my price tag is I want to be paid £200 an hour, which is 1,600 a day, 10 grand a week, 500 grand a year. That's what I think my time is worth.
Hmm.
Right, I'm a 500 grand a week person, so that means that no task I'm going to do for less than $100. If I can find someone to do it for $10 in Philippines or in somewhere else, then I'm going to delegate that task to someone to do it for £10 because I'm not doing a £10 task when my time is worth 100. So every task I do is worth 100. When you look at your emails every single day, you say to yourself, who can I send that to? Nobody. Okay, that means I've got to deal with it. If the answer to that question is I've got to deal with it more than a couple of times a day, you haven't got the right team, you haven't got the right infrastructure, and you're a shit leader.
That is dynamite. That is dynamite advice, and I think more people need to. This is why I do this. More people need to hear the bluntness and reality of building a business, growing a business, and really what you're talking about are the foundations and fundamentals of a good leader. Identifying these things quite early. So we did go into a bit of it on the first point, which is only supposed to be 5 minutes, but I'm glad it took. Glad we went this much into it. Tell people, you mentioned obviously what you're doing, who are you, what you do, why do you do it, but tell us now then. I was blown away when my mate JD said this guy's bought a football club. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go speak to him right now. And as I did, reached out to you right away. Tell us what is happening right now in Lucky Leslie's world.
So I'm I want to do football is a toxic environment. That's like most workplaces, and this is what people don't understand. They think sport is different. It really isn't. The only difference in sport is you can't get if you lose last week, you can't make it up next week. Whereas in business, if you have a bad week, you can always have a better week next week. So you can't get your points back. But it is quite toxic in terms of the way people are in and out, and the whole academy system is a little bit broken in the UK. And I want to do something different. I want to look after my players. I want to help them to think about life during sport, but also life post sport. And that's what we're building here at Eastbourne, which is a team where we really are investing in the players and their well-being and their welfare to make sure that they can play at the highest level that they're capable of. And if they're not capable of playing at a high level, then we help them to become better humans and pursue a career that they do love and they know they know what they can do. I think everybody's the same. Your identity is not what you do, but your
Mhm.
identity is who you are. You're a genuinely nice human being who cares about other human beings. You might happen to be a right back or a centre back or a striker, but that's not who you are. That's just what you do.
It's your role,
And it's
right?
what it's really important is to understand what I stand for. What are my qualities? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What am I bringing to this team, and what am I going to bring to life after football finishes? And that's why so many players are broken when they leave the game or bankrupt when they leave the game because they've had poor advice, poor support, and they haven't thought about what ifs. So I'm passionate about bringing that support and care into football. We got some amazing success stories already bubbling, even though we've only been doing this for 4 or 5 months. And I can't wait to share those in the new year. And when I share them, it will blow people's minds how much we've achieved in 5 months. And it's so exciting. It's exciting every day working with brands, working with companies who are bringing their brands to us, and we're helping them see the world in a completely different way. I'm working with a company called Dobell, Dobell.co.uk, who are a suit brand. Happened to be in Eastbourne, and last week we took the players there and we did a fashion shoot and we shot pictures for them in the suits and they dressed them up and gave them 4 or 5 different outfits. What's great about that is now all those players have got professional images of them in different outfits. They got stuff that we can build a brand book for them. Dobell are delighted because they got footballers wearing all their suits, and together we're marketing the Dobell brand all over the world. They'll ship your suit anywhere in the world. Great suits, cheap suits, right? Suits that aren't expensive. And I think things like that. And I'm looking at more and more businesses who are only in esports, who are small businesses who've got enough opportunity to grow and expand. So not only am I building a football team, I'm also helping an ecosystem improve as well.
You're building an entire community, like an actual physical community too, not just some of this online WhatsApp group. It's an actual town that you're feeding, creating opportunity. That's amazing. Now,
And that's not how I perceived it necessarily when I first came in here. I'm using social media quite aggressively with the club. So all those pictures that we shot last week are on social media and our TikTok, and our TikTok is growing really fast and we're getting millions of views. And I think that's what's so important is that I'm helping brands go beyond what they think is their normality and their reality. I'm taking them into a different stratosphere, and the more brands every single day, more brands are coming in here knocking on the door, going, "What can you do for me? Can you help me? Can you help me?" And I just think that that's such an amazing environment we've created.
you know what? It's really inspiring to hear it because you see, like, if you got some real big pricks, dickheads in this world, and just even in local fucking next door club, for example, you've got unbelievably big pricks, and the people we cracked 100. You're 101 now, but we've cracked 100 CEOs on this show, and every single one of them is fucking amazing. Literally, the way some of elder guests or older guests have presented themselves and the things they're doing. Like, what drives you then? Like, what's behind you saying, "All right, I was going to build a football team. I do want to help more. I want to go beyond that." But then where does the thought process, what does it derive from, originate from, where you're like, okay, this is a soup brand. How can I work with them to make them better or help them move forward as well as leveraging my, like, where does that thought process come from? Where did it develop?
It's a good question, and I think it's just that creativity and it's packaging. So when I was in business, if we had a product and the product wasn't selling, most people would just dump the product and say that's a rubbish product. Not me. I'll tell you two really interesting stories. Back in 2012, we launched this product, and we marketed it the same as everybody else, £10 CPM, something like that. And we went to market with it. Nobody bought it. I knew it was a great product. This guy came along to me, Robin Phillips, his name was, and he said to me, "Right, what we're going to do is we're not going to sell this at $10 CPM. We're going to sell it at 300." And I went, "What? We can't even sell it at 10. This doesn't matter. We're going to change the value of the commodity." That business, even today, 15 years, no, 13 years later, it's still one of the most successful businesses within the ink business. And it's because he saw a different way of doing it. He saw a different value attributed to what we were doing. And he was absolutely superb at doing that, was taking a product and saying, I can put a different value on this product. A value is worth what somebody is prepared to pay for it. What someone is prepared to pay is based on the story that you tell. If I tell you that out in your head with the LA initials on it, it's worth $150 or it's worth $10 because you can buy it for $10 in LA and on the street, right? But you can also pay $130 for it in one of the
JD
sports
Sports.
shops.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same hat has a different value depending where you go, and it's really important to understand the value. And what I was very good at, and I still remain very good at, is taking the things that you have and repackage them in a way that somebody else will buy it at a price that suits them. And when I told people a week ago that I was going to repackage these deals and put them in a different way, it said to me, "No one buys anything between now and Christmas. You're not going to do any deals." We've done 5 deals this week.
I fucking love it.
So you've got a choice, right? You either believe what everybody tells you or you believe what you think is possible. Of course, people are going to spend money now. There are so many people who come into their year end, they've got money to spend because they're going to pay tax otherwise. So they can use that money more effectively to set themselves up for a better 24. So I don't believe that there's any moment in life, there's no month in the year that's a dead month. July, August used to be dead months in most media businesses. Why? Because people were on holiday. Now, we were in the travel business. So for me, those were the busiest months because that's where we had most of our customers. So in theory, we should have been rubbish between January and June and September and December because they were no. We took a 2 month business and turned it into a 12 month business because I said every month is as good as this. There's no difference in the passenger numbers. Maybe a little bit more in August and September and July and August, but the rest of the year is still valuable inventory. And we just made every single month count. And there's too many people you're listening to say, "Oh, you can't do business now," or "This doesn't work," or
Yeah.
"Oh, let's wait till 24, let's wait till January, start with a fresh." You won't. You'll fuck about, and then the 15th of January will come, and then your customers will say, "Oh no, we don't want to do it yet. No, we haven't got a budget." And then you're in February, and then you're in March, and before you know it, oh, we spent our money with somebody else. Sorry, thanks very much for knocking our door and darkening our door. There is always money for a good idea. It's the simplest line that I've been using for 25 years.
That is a
If I
super duper line.
if you have a good idea and you've got a great story to go with it, someone will find the money. I haven't got budget. Well, if I've got a good idea, you'll find the budget. No, I can't. I think government organisations can't find more budget, but most businesses will find a budget if you've got a great idea for them.
You
And if
should
I
do
said to you,
it.
"Hey, I'm going to bring something in which is going to absolutely accelerate the performance of your business," I haven't got any money. Okay, but this will double and triple and quadruple what you're doing right now. Okay, let me hear what you got. I'll find the money if I need to.
And I think that's the entrepreneur's passion, right? It's the ability to create ideas and then develop a story, a believable story, a narrative that's convincing enough for somebody to say, I'm curious to see what this is about. I'm curious to dive into it. So it's December 19th, right? It's 5:06 p.m. 2023. In 2033, at 5:06 p.m. You're at the Christmas tree right now. The club has done everything you envisaged. You've helped the community. All the stars are aligned for Lucky Leslie. Tell me what you're doing at 5:06 in 2033. Are you sitting at a Christmas tree talking to me again, or somebody else, or on holiday? Walk me through that.
I will have a league club in Eastbourne. I have a women's super league club. I will have built the most incredible stadium here and retreat where people come to rebalance, recreate, and recharge. And this town will be synonymous with everything that I've done over the last 10 years. And I will be so proud of the 10 years that I put into this club. And I will leave everybody I meet better than I found them. And all the critics will be invited to lunch here and I will feed them humble pie.
You're an incredible dude, man. Honestly, that would be absolutely incredible. I'm gonna buy a house then over there. What are they rate? What's the average house price right now in Eastbourne?
Listen, I think Eastbourne is the biggest um, what's the word? Underpriced,
Yeah, or undervalued and
underpriced,
underpriced.
undervalued town. You can buy a house 2 minutes walking distance to the sea for 350,000. Same house in Brighton would be 700,000. Same house in London would be, probably £1 million. And it's just not that you got to see in London, but it's just there's some amazing property down here, and it's been a little bit left behind as a destination by Hastings and by Brighton.
Hmm.
And as part of my um, what's the right word? As part of my commitment to this football team, it's not just putting Eastbourne Borough on the map; it's also putting Eastbourne as a destination. And I think in 10 years' time, we'll have far better restaurants, far better hotels, far better experiences for people. Have you ever heard of Rathfinny?
Ratatouille, did you say the dish?
No, no, Rathfinny. So
Oh no,
Rathfinny,
sorry.
yeah, and I haven't met this guy yet, so I'm going to go and meet him soon. He had a dream, right? He said, "I'm going to make English champagne, English sparkling wine," and he makes it here in Eastbourne. He said, I will be happy when that is served in 5-star restaurants, Michelin star restaurants on every table all around the world. And I get goosebumps telling the story, and I haven't even met the fella yet. His wine now is served in all the best restaurants all over the world, and it's produced less than a mile from here. There's a brewery here called Longman Brewery. Again, two guys who started this brewery, some of the best beer on the planet. And I just think that maybe there's something in the air here. I mean, we are situated between the South Down National Park and the sea, so it's beautiful and it's positive energy, right? Two amazing destinations which bring amazing energy to me. I love going up into Beachy Head and just breathing in the fresh air up there. And I just think that sometimes people assume that it had a reputation for being, the death's waiting room. I actually changed that because I said it's people here just closer to heaven, and I think it's such a wonderful place with some amazing companies that no one's ever heard of. And I just think that it's my responsibility as part of what I'm doing is to share the wealth and share the knowledge and share all the good things that are going on here.
Last question on it. Why Eastbourne? And where are you
Why not?
originally from?
Why not? That's what I keep saying to people. It's why Eastbourne. I said, why not? What's wrong with Eastbourne? I remember working for United Airlines, probably one of the biggest airlines in the world, and they said, "Why would you want to work with us?" People when they're in an environment or in a business, they think their business is crappy and no one loves it.
Hmm.
When I come in with wide open eyes and wide open opportunities and say, "Why bloody not? I want to help you change a lot of things." And I think I worked with United Airlines for 20 years, and over that time, I definitely helped them change, create a great message piece. I'm originally from Cardiff. I moved to London when I was 13 years old, and I just wanted to have a football club where we could reinvent the rules. And I found it in Eastbourne, and I spend nearly every day here, and I'm super excited about it. And I think you can sense that from this conversation that we are going to make a difference. And you can probably set your clock that in 10 years' time, something magic would have happened.
I do believe it. I genuinely do believe it, and I think it's genius. And if whoever is around the Eastbourne area listening to this, or people that want to move to that area, you've got a travel-focused CEO that ran one of, if not the biggest travel media company on the planet, and has the ambition, drive, and vision to drive more traffic, more visitors, more holiday goers to Eastbourne to enjoy kind of an adventure that you're going to build. So when people want to know more about this and what you're doing, maybe they want to work for you, maybe they want to work with you, maybe they want to know more about the club. Where do you advise or suggest people go to have that first conversation with you?
Uh, my website is luckyleslie.com,
Okay.
and um, the lucky. You didn't ask me why I'm lucky. I mean, I'd rather be lucky than anything else because I used to ask people that in an interview. I'd say, "You lucky?" And they go, "Yeah, I am. I feel quite lucky." And if they went, "No, I'm not lucky," I don't hire unlucky people. And because it is a mindset, it's a belief that things are going to be okay, right? Um, Follow Eastbourne Borough Football Club on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat. There's a short show on Snapchat every week. We are making a little bit of a documentary, so that'll be out at some point in the new year. Um, and and reach out to me anywhere you can find me, and I'm very good at inbox zero, so I'm very good at responding to everybody
True. He
who
answered me.
reaches out. As long as you're compelling, I'll either tell you to go do one, or I will actually, when people used to cold call me, I'd literally stop them and say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that was a really bad opening. Let's try that again." And my wife used to get so annoyed at me, and I could be on the phone with a double glazing salesman for hours and hours just coaching. I said, "This is great. This is great. Let's do that again." And then he go, "Do you want to buy double glazing?" I said, "No, I've just done my windows." But it's that desire to make people better in whatever little way I can.
I think you're going to make a huge difference. Anybody who wants to know more, look, you've got all the details. Like, share, and subscribe for more on the channel. But we'll be hosting a bunch of content for Simon in the description. You'll have all the links. You'll have all his socials, and then obviously we collaborate with all of our guests on promoting this online. So, look, Simon, I really do appreciate it, mate. I did hassle you a lot. You did answer. You delivered, signed, sealed, and delivered, and I couldn't be more grateful. So thank you very much again, and I'm excited to see what next year brings for the club and yourself.
Bless you, and good luck with everything you're doing. And just your past does not define your future. And if you want one tiny little bit of advice, just keep chasing next year's version of you.
Stay on. I'm going to push stop and let this upload.